Alright y'all, so I took some soil that I had in the backyard. I got it from a tractor supply company here in San Jose. I got a bunch of it. I got way too much to fill the raised beds and then some. So what I did was I put a bunch of it in the backyard and I buried a bunch of things. I buried leaves, I buried some fruit to kind of decompose and see what it'll do. So what I did was I took some of that with the leaves still in it and I mixed it with some dry stuff because we just had a big heavy rain. So what I'm going to do is it's nice and mixed. So what I'm going to do is fill up some of the 4-inch pots, some of those 6 cells, and then one of these bigger guys for that sunflower to get started. So yeah, here goes that. Now I did leave some of the leaves in there, in this potting mix. I put them down at the bottom. As I was putting the soil here on this tarp, a lot of the leaves were actually starting to turn black and decompose, which is good. So I left it in here, hopefully that, thinking that, you know, maybe it'll keep decomposing. We'll see. But I am going to give everything some water soluble fertilizer, and I'll show you what that is when I do it as well. Not quite to the top, because what I want to do is I'm going to plant the tallest sunflower that I have in here, and then as it starts growing a little bit and starts getting its 3rd and 4th set of leaves, I'm going to come with some more topsoil and bury it to the top and give it a little bit more support and some more root growth as well. So that's my plan with this. I'm going to fill up the other ones off camera just to kind of make things quick, and meet you on the other side. Now what we have are we got some 4-inch pots that are nice and full. We got some things that we're gonna start transplanting. And let's rock. Okay. So, as the plane rides by, I don't care. I need to hurry up and get this done because I do have work tonight, which is always fun. Yay! Working! Money! Alright, so what I do have is this big seedling tray, and this seedling tray is going to catch all the soil that I get from these peat trays, and they're going to go in here, and then I'm going to plant stuff in here, and then I'm going to take this soil and I'm going to pack it up nice and neat, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. It's going to be really cool. Recycling. Alright, cool. I don't want to start, actually let's start with the tomatoes, so that'd be a perfect way to start. So I'm going to do Roma tomatoes first. Just to make sure I know that I'm doing Roma tomatoes, I put the tag in here. Cool. Look at all the roots popping out the sides. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, let's break this apart and try to be as careful and delicate as possible, especially with the roots that are popping out the sides. If you just go really, really slowly, the way that they kind of weaved in, they'll weave back out. If you take some of the roots with it, it's okay. Just try to be as careful as possible. And this is why I'm going to steer away from these peat pots unless I plan on planting it in the ground. This is perfect if you're going to do that. If you're going to plant it in the ground, use these peat pots and don't do 4 in 1, because now you're just going to have to break this up. This is going to have to go in the trash. Or you can compost it. Maybe I'll give it to the worms instead. Put some of it in the worm bin. But the point of it is to be kind of broken down and put it in the soil with their seedlings. Not to do what I just did. So don't do that. So with these guys, I could go solo and just do 1 in each. But until they get a little bit bigger, I'm going to... Because eventually, after this, they're going to go into a raised bed. So I'm going to double them up. Crumble them up, double them up, crumble them up. I'm going to double them up inside the 4-inch pots when I put them under grow lights for now. And then when they're ready to be put in the ground or in the raised bed, I'll take them from here. Yes, it's definitely why you want softer seed starting mix too, because when it comes down to this, you're not just yanking out the roots like I'm doing right now. It's just too thick, too like clay almost. It's not really giving the roots a chance to like stay. So that's all the Roma tomatoes. Next, I'm gonna do this. Lay them here. Grab my Sharpie. Take this guy and go 1. I'm gonna go kind of all the way down to the bottom, and 2. Go almost all the way down the bottom. Place them in there and pinch them into place. Pinch them into place. Give them a nice tap to make sure that all the crevices get filled. And I don't want to pack them in too tightly, but if you see, they're pretty buried. So you went from leggy tomato to trying to revive that legginess. And don't pack them in too hard. And like I said, I'm put them all the way to the bottom because I'm going to bottom water these in these larger trays here. So I'm going to lay them in here and I'm going to bottom water instead of putting the water on top and everything sinking down and whatnot. It gets kind of messy. So I'm going to do those for the rest of these. And then I'm going to move on to another project that I'm going to show you. Okay, bye. All right, y'all. So this, before I show you that project that I was going to do, I want to kind of take you out to the very, very front and show you these beds that I did. Let's get this guy out of here. You do not belong. Okay. So those 2, 1, 2, 1. So remember when I told you that I had planted something in those things earlier, the seedling trays, and then forgot what I planted and then they randomly grew. So I kind of did the same thing out here. I put broccoli off to one side and cauliflower off to another. One side I direct sowed in this bed. One side took, one side didn't. I don't remember what I put where, but I took them out and I thinned them out. So there was 10 heads of either broccoli or cauliflower. So there's 6 there, and then there's 4 more right there. I do have a row of potatoes that I planted right here. And then on this side I have 12 heads of spinach that have kind of hardened off in the bed up front. So there should be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Yeah, pretty solid. They took a beating with the rain, but they seem to be doing okay, kind of falling into place. And let's go check on these tomatoes. So these were random tomatoes that I got in the pack. It was like a Harvey's seed company, but it was like a really random seed pack. But they seem to be doing okay given it's January, the end of January, almost the beginning of February, and I still have tomatoes out. That one looks dead. But the rest of them look really solid. Green, a lot of fruit, a lot of growth on the fruit. I did fertilize them as well, so they seem to be doing okay. I did kind of just randomly put this little 3-post cage around it, even though they're staked, just to kind of put it there and see what I can do with it. And I do have these trellises that I'm just kind of playing with. Looks like I can do a wall if I wanted to do like peas or beans. And then this trellis is really good for things like peas or beans that are going to climb. And then the trees are doing okay. That tree is anyways, not so much that one. The tropical bed. Looks like we have some buds forming on the hibiscus, so that's cool. Always fun. I thinned a lot of this out, so I had carrots sown here that I had harvested and did a really, really good job with. And then I had about 7 stalks of Brussels sprouts, but they were just way too closely planted together, so I thinned them out a lot. It's probably the best. They're doing okay. I do need to fertilize them. And then I have some kale, 1, 2, 3, 4 stalks of kale left as well that are really doing well. And right beneath them is my little herb box that are completely covered. Mint, lavender, rosemary. I had a basil tree almost, but it kind of died. I took it down yet last year. And then turtle poop tomatoes, definitely thinned them out a lot. This main one here actually has some powdery mildew on it, which isn't good. And then underneath these guys are the garlic. Prolific, doing really well. Wish I planted more actually, but I'm actually super surprised with how thick these stalks are right here. So very cool. And these turtle poop tomatoes are spitting out fruit like crazy. Cool. All right, let's get you shown on the project that I was gonna start. All right, family, we are in the garage. This is my grow mat that I bought. Yeah, so like I said, peppers really want warm soil, and I can't really do that right now unless I have one of these. So I got one. Awesome. I'm gonna unbox it right now. And we're gonna get this thing going because I want to plant some peppers. Also, I want to kind of show you a little strategy. So this is some soil, what I'm gonna start some seeds in. But if you can see, I don't have any cells. I'm just gonna like direct sow a row or a handful of seeds and kind of section them off and label them and cover them with the dome. And then I have a light that I'm gonna put on them. Heat mat, place the heat on a well-drained surface without standing water. For warmer mat temperatures, place it on an insulated surface rather than a cold floor. Insulated surfaces rather than a cold floor, which tells me I should probably put a towel down on this dresser here before I put this thing on there and start it. Plugs it into a 120 volt, and it brings it up 10 to 20% above the ambient air temperature. And I am in the garage, but right below this, I also have the heater that I'm gonna put on. That way I get some nice steady heat in here. I am right next to the worm bin as well. So I'm gonna get this thing unplugged. I'm gonna get this thing covered. And then I'll show you once I'm about to start direct sowing the seeds. Let's see if we can get my fat face in the shot, my big ugly head. Just to make it a little bit more personal. All right, hi. Okay, so I have it plugged in. I have the controller mounted on the wall and it's ready to go. So I have the mat right underneath. It's set to 81 degrees right now. Not sure why I chose 81 degrees, but it's at 81 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 type of peppers that I have. And I'm going to direct sow them right inside of this tray. And then I can't bottom water, right? So I do have a spray bottle, so I'm just gonna top water, spray them really, really softly. And then I'm gonna go grab everything that I was working on outside. I'm gonna put the dome on top, and then I'm gonna put 2 of these dome pieces on one side here, and then all of the other trays are gonna go in the middle that I have, the open trays that I just kind of moved around and stuff. So. So now that we're here, we got the dome on. I got one open, one closed. Bada bing, bada boom. Peppers. My peppers are planted. I'm actually pretty excited to use the mat and to get some peppers sprouting in the garden. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this thing sideways. I'm gonna go grab all the trays from out front. And I'm gonna lay them here. And I have this big light that I'm gonna put over them. And that'll free up a good amount of space in my room, which I'm very excited about. Very excited about.